Any further proof that we're being completely dehumanized on every level. Look no further than the new comedic abortion video out by Gnarl Pro-Choice America called Comedians in Cars Getting Abortions. It's supposed to be a take on Jerry Seinfeld's Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. This is actually very hard to watch.
Would you like to tell the cameras why you want an abortion?
Yeah, sure. Okay. I do, actually. I really do.
Fantastic.
You know, because I want an abortion because my body is doing a thing right now that is not incubating a person, and I would like it to continue doing that thing. It's my choice, okay?
You know, my body's doing a thing too. It's called trying not to throw up all over my keyboard. It's a couple of the most shallow, self-centered, sarcastic, douchebag hipsters I've seen maybe ever represented, even if they're playing a bit, driving around in their Prius, attempting to make abortion funny? Like a sitcom.
This is a 2012 Toyota Prius. It's red.
I'm gonna save the environment by driving my Prius and aborting my children. It's really very sick. And so I'm not gonna play it all and watch it all because I already watched it and once is enough. I feel like somebody attempted to abort my brain after the first time that I watched it.
The door's stuck. So just have to pull forward. Look at that kid. I mean, it's...
That kid is slapping his dad in the face.
Yeah, we don't need more of those in the world. That's the other thing, so.
Good point.
Then, of course, you have all the obstacles. It's just so hard in America to get an abortion because you have to deal with crazy, disapproving Christian cliches.
Are there any doctors here?
Who needs doctors when you have the book of Jeremiah?
Did you know that if you get an abortion, there's an 18% chance that the chance of you getting into heaven is 0%?
And conspiracy theorists.
The Federal Reserve wants to vaccinate your babies to get the chip inside their head.
And then when they finally get to the place where they might be able to have an abortion, this is the reaction.
Can I get an abortion here?
Absolutely.
Ugh. Thank God. Let us get this shit done.
No one acts this way about abortion at all. And secondly, their whole thing is bullshit anyway. It's just not true. This video is Gnarl's sad, pathetic attempt to get millennials on board with the pro-choice abortion train, because abortions in the millennial bracket are actually on the decline and have been for years now. They feel that the pro-choice movement needs more young people in their leadership roles, and there's just an intensity gap in how much they actually care. So the way that Gnarl's going to go about getting them engaged is by trying to make abortion like a Jerry Seinfeld episode. But beyond that, this idea that abortions are just so hard to find, they're like the leprechaun at the end of the rainbow, you hardly ever see one in the wild, is just total bullshit. Now, there aren't any good statistics on exactly how many abortions happen in this country every year, because the reporting on that to the CDC is voluntary. But for example, in 2011, 730,322 abortions were reported just in the United States alone. And if you go by these figures, about half of all pregnancies are unintended, and 40% of those, or 4 in 10, are aborted. What that means is that 21% of all pregnancies in the United States, over 1/5, end in abortion. That's not exactly the 4-leaf clover you never find in the field, okay? Lots of women having lots and lots of abortions. If you look at International Planned Parenthood Federation's own figures, they admit that last year alone, they performed 1 million abortions. It's a lot of abortions, okay? So, abortions, just not that rare. It's not like an abortion is a unicorn. You guys already know, I'm pro-life. But when I watched this video and I saw the way that these two people acted in their hypothetical comedians getting an abortion scenario, I became pro-choice for them. Because I actually thought to myself, these are such self-absorbed, selfish douchebags. I can't imagine them procreating and making another person like them to drive around in their Prius and act like this much of an asshole. those two making another one of those two. I just actually thought, I know it makes me feel actually pretty bad to admit. It's pretty mean, I guess. Probably shouldn't say that, but wow. The saddest part about this is that this actually disgusted everyone. It didn't actually help their argument at all. You had lots of pro-choice people in the comments just as disgusted as I was. Nobody thought this was funny. It's not funny. Abortion's just not funny. I don't know why no one bothered to tell them, but it's just not. It's just not. I know people who had abortions in the 70s. So 40 years ago, abortions. And those people are still, to this day, suffering over the decision they made in their own head. Should they have chosen differently? Was that the right thing to do for them in that situation? If they could do it over again, would they? And I'm just telling you, this is a decision that when it is made by a woman, it's not something they take lightly. They don't jump into their Prius and go, yeah, after I go down and have a latte at Starbucks, I'm going to get me an abortion. Like, it's not like that for any person I've ever met. Okay? It's life scarring. It's a serious decision. For Gnarl to make it into this much of a joke is pretty sick. And it's a really sad milestone for modern American society.